All right, we are almost at the end of this adventure, and the red flags were flying super high in this episode. Wow.
Welcome to the Asia Esterak Hour, where film meets conspiracy and pop culture gets a reality check. From sharp recaps to sci-fi theories and media deep dives, Asia Esterak serves it unfiltered. Let the binge begin.
All right, welcome back to the Asia Esterak Hour. I'm Asia Esterak. All right, Love Hotel. We are almost done, you guys. Oh my God. All right, episode 7. One more episode after this. So everybody is down there in the main room with Joel, and Joel lets them know that they're going to have one more final elimination and to spend time with each other and get any more last minutes, whatever, lasting impressions. So everybody disperses off. In that meeting with Joel, it was definitely, there was a lot of tension when it came to Mark and Mitch and James. James is the dude that's with Luann. James is crazy. I said it the first time he came on the show. I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again. He continues to show us who he is every week. And the fact that Luann doesn't see that, or maybe she sees it and she likes it and doesn't care. I have a whole theory about Luann's ass. But anyway, we'll get to her. So they all disperse, hanging out with each other. And they end up all having like a dinner. The ladies decide to sit opposite of, not to sit with the guys that they're with, to sit with other dudes and, chat or whatever. So Gizelle is sitting in between Mark and Earl. And Mark is making comments about James. James is declaring his love for Luann every 5 minutes on the show, to the point where it seems forced and inauthentic. I don't know. I don't know the man in real life. Maybe this is how he really is, but I don't know. So Mark is like making comments under his breath, and Giselle's like kind of, asking him to elaborate. And he's like, this is just like, it's not real. They start talking about this hurricane. So at this time, there's a hurricane that's supposed to be coming towards the Gulf, and it's supposed to hit Florida. It's heading for Florida at the current time on the show, the episode at this time. Gizelle mentions that her daughter is in, I think, Tallahassee, she said, and she's like, yeah, we just had her evacuated. Mark's like, yeah, Earl is Earl the Pearl. Earl the Pearl. Earl is everything but a damn pearl. Earl the side ache. Earl the headache. Earl the hurl. Okay. So he's like, so Mark's like, Earl's kind of, he has a house out there. And so Giselle's like, really? And he goes, yeah, I have a house in, I think he says St. Petersburg. And he's like, I'm just worried that it might hit. So they cut to the confessional. Gizelle, you are way too fixated on people's material items. I noticed you're way too focused on people's money, Gizelle. Just something I noticed. I'm a little tacky, but I still like you, Gizelle, but that's tacky as hell. So, but in the confessional, it's her and Shannon, and she's like, Shannon, I didn't know Earl the Pearl had 2 homes, and Shannon's like, yeah, he has 2, one in Florida, but it's not on the water. Here's my thing with that. Shannon, you ain't shit for saying that. And the reality is, Earl has red flags. Baby, you do too. We've seen your red flags on your own show, and you brought them right over here to this show. So y'all red flags are flying high together. I don't like that she keeps using the word simple in a negative connotation, referring to Earl. Like his life, he has a simple life, but she's making it sound like it's bad. Baby, you could use simple. Because we seen how you living. Baby, you could use simple. You could use simple right about now. Simple wouldn't get you in the situations that you got your ass into. I'm gonna read you later, Shannon. I'm gonna save you for the end. So anyway, they cut back to them. They're all at the table. James, so they start talking. They play a little game, and Ashley's like asking about people's fetishes. So they asked Luann, and actually Luann started the game. I'm sorry, and then Ashley asks Luann what her fetish is, and Luann says her fetish is hats. So they cut to her wearing all these different hats. She does like a lot of hats. I recall that just watching Roni. And then Shannon's like, do you wear hats when you have sex? And she's like, I think she says sometimes or something like that, or alluded to it, whatever. So then they get to James. James, what's your fetish? And he's like, dating a real housewife. So of course everybody's like, why would he say that? Because he meant it. Because he fucking meant it. There is truth in jest, y'all. He meant that shit. So of course Luann is like, you're a fame monger. Sidebar, is it me or is Luann's behavior weird? There's something off with her. This whole time she's been on the show, there's something off, and I can't figure out what it is. I don't know if it's too much Botox in here, because I notice her top lip don't be moving like that, or if it's something else. I don't know. It's just her vibe and her energy seems off. Maybe it's me. Anyway. So of course, like, whatever. James, not the best thing to say. Everyone's turned off by that. They're cutting to the guys' confessionals, and they're all just like... And it's funny because Wale, Ralph, and pretty much everyone has said that James is annoying. And not Ralph, but Wale was like, James is good in small doses, but they're over him. And so the last confessional, Ralph is just like, about James. So then they asked Ralph, well, what's your fetish? And he was like, silence. And everybody started laughing because they're tired of James. James is declaring his love for Luann every 5 minutes. And it's just weird. And even Ashley was like, So Ashley is sitting on her side of the table. She's sitting next to the guy, Mitch, who came in the third, like, group of dudes and Luann picked him and has basically ignored him. So he's cringing off of James as well. And him and Ashley are kind of talking about it. And he's like, no, his behavior's weird. And he was like, it's strange. And he's like, I think he says I'm a psychotherapist. And he was like, girl. Ashley in her confessional was like, I kind of have to agree with Mitch. There's just something weird about James. Ashley's hilarious. She was like, James, you act like you want to propose to Luann. Like, pipe down, boo. You're doing too much. Doing way too much. But Luann seems to like that shit. Luann, it's funny because the ladies on Roni said that Luann is self-absorbed. We saw that with the whole cabaret shit. You really are seeing it on this show. You're so self-absorbed that you're ignoring the red flags that James has for you. And James came late. They only been in that house, 2 weeks? Y'all been there, 14 days? It's a lot. It's a lot. So anyway, so they all chat. They disperse from dinner. Mark decides that he's not going to have a chance with Luann. So he decides to divert the energy to Gizelle. So back to their side of the table, he asks Gizelle if they can go chat for a minute. Pulls her to the side. Basically expressed that he has an interest in her. And Giselle's like, And she's like, first of all, you didn't have an interest in me. You've been here for Luann the whole time. You came back for Luann. This motherfucker is lying, doubles down, talking about, no, I had an interest in you. And Giselle's like, I call bullshit. And I love that she said it in her confessional and she said it to his face. Because she was like, if James wasn't all over Luann, you'd be sitting next to her right now at the table. He tries to say no. And Gizelle hit it on the head. She was like, Mark just enjoys being here. He doesn't care who he's chasing. He just likes being here. Exactly. Mark, you over here on TV trying to get exposure. And you're mad because your homegirl is all in James' face. The reality is you fumbled it with Luann first time around. Actually, I'm not even going to say that. He didn't fumble it. She just wasn't that into him. That's really what it was. And Mark doesn't strike me as the type that's going to be all up a girl's ass worshiping them either, the way that James is. Also, so as they're talking, so Phil comes over to them, interrupts, and says to Mark, like, can I talk to Gizelle alone? So Phil is all of a sudden, Phil has come out of his shell at this point. And he's basically shooting his shot with Gizelle. He's like, listen, it's the end. I'm 63. I don't want to waste any time. I like you. I can see us being friends and lovers. And Giselle's like, where has Phil been this whole time? She mentions the date with Cynthia, and then she says, I'm surprised you've never met Cynthia. Turns out he has met Cynthia. He's like, actually, I have met her before. Her and Mike have been to the house. So Gizelle's like, oh, well, why didn't you say anything? And he's like, well, she didn't recognize me when she came in, so I just didn't say anything. So Gizelle, in her confessional, says that that's an issue for her because that's withholding information. I agree because why not mention it? I mean, what's wrong with going, oh, I met Cynthia before. She probably doesn't remember me, but her and her ex-husband have been to my house. What's the harm in that? A little weird because why are you omitting certain information? And it lets you know that he's omitted a lot of information. We later find out in that episode, she actually finds out in her confessional, she's actually having a chat with the guy Theo, and we learned that he used to model. And then when she's in her confessional, the producers behind the camera let her know that Phil is a retired Ford model. He'd been with the agency 40 years, he says. And Gizelle's like, why am I just now finding that out? And I have to agree, like, you guys have been there over a week, and you're finding out that you know her friend and her ex-husband, they've been to your house, and you're a Ford model, which is cool. Like, why not mention that? A little strange. I personally don't think Gizelle's gonna pick anybody. I think she has interest in people, but I don't think she's gonna pick anyone. And the more I watch this show, Gizelle has played it the smartest with everybody. She ain't kissing on nobody. She's not in everybody's face. She's getting to know everyone and see where it goes. I don't think it's smart to be swapping spit with every motherfucker, and it's only been 14 days. I understand you're on a dating show, but like, come on. I don't know. Anyway, so later on that same night, Ashley is sitting with Ralph, and they're talking about the whole fetish thing. And then she mentions the fact that she has had relationships with women. She asks him how he feels about that. He poses two different scenarios, which were interesting, talking about, is it a phase, or if this is something that you're into, we need to discuss it. She lets him know it's not a phase. This is part of her lifestyle. She mentions, she doesn't say the whole threesome thing with her and Michael, but she alludes to the fact that she doesn't want that. She mentions she's not interested in that lifestyle anymore. I didn't realize that he had mentioned that. I thought maybe they editing or something, but I was like, where did that even come from? So in her confessional, she's talking about how, she's looking for a straight man, but she lives in a queer world. She's bisexual, and a guy should be cool with that. I get all that, but I don't care if you're bisexual or not. Like, so you're asking to basically sleep with women while you're with this dude? That's still another person. Like, isn't that technically cheating? I don't care if it's the same sex. And it seems like Ralph ain't into that. I don't know. Her logic behind that didn't make sense to me because, so are you asking to have an open relationship? Because just because you like women and you with a man doesn't mean the man is going to be cool with you sleeping with women. That's still another person. And you've admitted that you're interested in women romantically. So it would be more than just sex for you, right? I don't know. I didn't understand that logic. I didn't get it. My prediction with Ashley is she's going to pick Ralph over Wale because she got daddy issues, and Ralph clearly has more money than Wale. He's older and more established. I don't know. Really, I don't know. Anyway, so next day they meet back up with Joel, and he says they're going to do one more group date at a spa. Before he gets to all of that, Earl makes the announcement that Shannon has given him a key to her room for her to move in. Very corny, but okay. Move into the hotel room. Shannon's logic is she wants to see how they vibe living in the same space and how it would be on the outside. I understand your logic. I think you're absolutely crazy. The other ladies agree, especially Luann. Luann's like, let's just hope there's no vegetables in the room. That's a callback to when they had that argument about how he doesn't eat vegetables. Anyway, so they go to the spa. The spa looked nice. There was massages there. There was like a giant, like regular pool where they had people serving drinks in the pool. Then they had a cold plunge, and I think they had like jacuzzis. Shannon and Earl in the cold plunge had me rolling. Sidebar, I want to try the cold plunge. I kind of feel like I would hate it, but love it. Fuck it. Let's try it. As long as it ain't bungee jumping, we good, right? So in this scene, you see how fucking corny and lame Luann and James are. They're all over each other in the corner. At one point, he had her pinned against the wall. Everybody else is like, what is going on? It was very teenager. But listen, if they're in love or lust or whatever the hell that is, if they like it, do you. A little sickening, but do you. Wale is over in the cut watching Ralph and Ashley flirt, and he can't take it. And he can't take it. He likes Ashley. He can't take it. I totally get it, Wale. But again, you're on a reality dating. So Ashley comes over to, I said Ashley. So Ashley comes over to Wale. Hey, do you have a minute to talk? And he's like, no. Basically says no, brushes her off. She walks away like, okay. And he tells Gizelle, and I think Theo's Theo and Phil are in there with them. But he's like, no. I don't want to talk right now. Just because you want to talk, I don't want to talk. So later on at the spa, he, I don't know if it was after the spa or after, I think it was afterwards. It was after the spa. He tells her like, listen, I'm tired of the 20 seconds here with Ralph, 30 seconds with Wale. He's like, I feel like I'm losing a little bit of respect for myself. Totally understood where he was coming from with that. But again, you're on a reality dating show. I kind of feel like dignity and all that shit goes out the window. It's TV. You sold your soul a little bit. It is what it is. Ashley understood what he was saying, but also didn't. She's playing the game. So I think that's where she comes off like she doesn't give a damn with him. And I think that's where his frustration comes in. My thing is, y'all both are not wrong, but Wale, you forget where you're at. Ashley, you were vibing with Wale hard, messing with him heavy hard, and now you're with the new dude. You kind of cut Wale off. So I get the disconnection with Wale and his issue with Ashley. I get it. I also get her. I get both sides. It's it is what it is. So anyway, Earl is packing up to go to Shannon's room. They get in the room. He's all happy. And he's like, we're going to wake up together, blah, blah, blah. They're discussing more of the hurricane. They talk about the tracking. It's gotten close to where... No. So at one point, it shifts away. Shannon goes out to dinner later with the ladies. Has a blast, dancing on tables, doing their thing. So the next morning, Shannon is in her room, dolled up, hair and rollers, crying. Turns out Earl left the room, hasn't returned her calls or anything. The ladies come into her room. She's... Here's my thing. Shannon, you're such a victim. It's scary. You're crying every 5 fucking minutes. Girl, grab your nuts. Why are you crying every 5 minutes over somebody you ain't known but 14 days? I don't understand it. So the ladies come in. They're trying to console her because they're like, what happened? Because she's like crying hysterically. That shit's annoying. Crying hysterically about it. So she basically tells them, before she left to go out to dinner with them, the hurricane had changed directions. So she was under the impression that everything was okay. His house was fine. She leaves, goes out, has fun, comes back. He's gone. She's blowing up his phone. He's not answering her. So later on, he comes back into the room. They talk. He basically is like, you left to go have fun, dancing on a table. You left me here. I didn't feel supported by you. I was worried about my house, this whole hurricane thing all night. You chose to go out. At one point, he's like, I look and see that you're out dancing on tables, having a great time. She's arguing with him, and she's like, I thought everything was okay. You telling me that it changed direction, told me that everything was okay and it was fine. I thought it was okay. And he's like, that's not good enough for me. So then he's like, I support you when you're there. You don't, though, because then Gizelle points out the fact that when Shannon needed him the most the night of her anniversary of her DUI, and they show her talking to Ashley and the one guy that used to be in the house, and she's like, I thought Earl would be here with me. Here's where I'm about to lay into both of them. So here's my thing. Shannon, you're expecting all of this from some dude you just fucking met. Earl, you're expecting all of this from some chick you just fucking met. The reality is they're very similar, those two. They're both needy as shit. and have all these high expectations for somebody you don't even know that well. Okay? The reality is you two aren't on the same page. I will give it to Shannon because Shannon was like, well, this is where communication comes in. If you had felt this way, you should have reached out to me and let me know that. I'm going out to dinner with my friends thinking everybody is cool. So we cut back to the girls with Shannon talking about it. And Luann hit it on the head. Luann's like, if he's doing all of this right now in the beginning, what's it going to be like later? Here's my theory. Shannon, this is just me. From my vantage point, from Love Hotel and The Real Housewives of Orange County, it is very obvious, Shannon, you date men that you're more into than they are into you. You get on this show, you get with Earl and realize Earl is probably a little bit more into you than you are into him. And don't tell me, and don't miss me with the extra shit, because the comments that you've made about this man lets me know that you're not into him the way he is into you. You like that he's all over you. But when it comes time for support on both ends, neither one of y'all are reciprocating it the way you think you should be. You're both extremely needy and extra as fuck. And so basically, her and Earl do not have a meeting of the minds. He expresses how he really feels. She takes it in, and of course, she's crying. So next scene, all the guys are in the main room. The women haven't come in yet. And Mark's like, so how was your first night, with Shannon? And Earl, very cold, but we'll talk about that. So the ladies are starting to come in. He's like, well, I don't want to talk about it now when they're coming in because that's not cool. The ladies come in, they sit down. Shannon whispers to Gizelle before they walk in, please have my bag. And Shannon's like, Giselle's like, of course. Joel comes in. They all sit down. And Ashley's like, well, we learned some information about, something that happened between Earl and Shannon. Earl decides to take the floor. And basically is like, I didn't feel supported by Shannon last night. I was really worried about this whole thing with the hurricane. Real quick, at one point, when they're in the room talking, he says to her, let me ask you this. When you were out with them, how many times did you check to see how close the hurricane was to where I was at, to my house? Earl the Earl. You done lost your fucking mind, bro. You doing too much. I can see why you've been twice divorced. Minus your one wife who passed away. I'm sorry on that. But like, really? Shannon is sitting there listening to this and he's like, she didn't even, reach out to me. And she's like, I'm about to lose it. So it cuts with her. The episode ends with her going, I am about to walk out of here. That's going to be a hot mess next week. Next week is the final episode. I can't wait. It's obvious Shannon's leaving alone. I really think Ashley's going to pick Ralph. I think Giselle's not going to pick anyone. I think Luann's gonna pick James, but I feel like the ceiling and that bullshit's gonna fall apart too. Anyway, this was a good episode. It's Wednesday, y'all. Hump somebody today, child, and drink lots of water and be nice to each other.